I'm very pleased to welcome our special invited keynote speaker this morning. Given Oracle's position in the MySQL ecosystem, it's the participation in the conference is really, I think, crucial, and it's therefore my great pleasure to welcome Tomas Ulin, who is the Vice President for the MySQL engineering team at Oracle. He's been working with the MySQL Database team since 2003 and is based in Sweden. Tomas is responsible for the development and maintenance of the MySQL-related software products within Oracle, such as MySQL Server, MySQL Cluster, MySQL Connectors, MySQL Workbench, MySQL Enterprise Backup, and MySQL Enterprise Monitor. Prior to working with MySQL, he has a background in the telecom industry, working for the Swedish telecom operator Telia and telecom vendor Ericsson. He has a master's degree in computer science and applied physics from Case Western Reserve University and a PhD in computer science from the Royal Institute of Technology. Please join me in welcoming Tomas to the podium.
Oh, thanks. Are we on? Okay. First of all, thank you, Percona, and Peter for inviting me here, and I'm excited to be here again. I was here last year. It's at Percona Live in London, so it's really good to be back once again this year. And I do think it's bigger this year. It looks bigger. It looks like it's a thriving community around MySQL, and that makes me very happy. So, as Terry mentioned, I run the MySQL engineering organization at Oracle. I've been with MySQL since 2003. I'm based out of Stockholm in Sweden, so I'm Swedish. I've been running this team at Oracle since 2010, and before that I was mainly involved in the MySQL Cluster product. So a little bit of a background myself. There were quite a few new people, so hi to all of you and hi to all the familiar faces since before. So today, I want to be talking about how we keep raising the bar for MySQL and all the products that we have around MySQL, how we keep making it better, release by release, month by month, year by year. And my goal is to get you all excited about especially 5.7, but also a bunch of other products that we have released recently. So hopefully you find the 5.7 stuff that I'm presenting today interesting, and we have a number of sessions during the course of this week where you can drill into the details. So this will be an overview of all the enhancements that we've done in the past year or so in 5.7 and some other things as well. So a little bit just to frame where we are. This is very much where we are with MySQL. We serve a lot of these users on internet, all the mobile subscribers out there, all the devices, in the core of gathering all that data, managing all of these users, etc. MySQL is very well situated today, and our goal with MySQL is to keep our position as the best-in-class #1 product for managing data in the next generation web applications, whether it's on-premise or in the cloud or for distributed applications. Here are some of the things that we have released in the past 4 years. It's a range of our different products. At the core of this, you have the MySQL Database. We had 5.5 coming out in 2010, and then we released the database version 5.6, and what we're going to be talking most about today are the 5.7 things, but I want to highlight a few other products here, especially MySQL Workbench. It's our second most downloaded product, very, very popular. If you haven't tried it out, please try it out. I will show you some of the new things that we have added there. We have a range of utilities in the MySQL Utilities product. I'll highlight some of those things as well during this talk. And also MySQL Cluster. If you haven't looked at MySQL Cluster, I encourage you to have a look at MySQL Cluster for see if it's something that you could fit for your needs. So I'll have a few slides or one slide on that. Okay, I'll get back to some of these things later on. So just a quick recap on our 5.6 release. This has been, people have talked about 5.6 as the best MySQL release ever in MySQL's history, and that, of course, makes us very proud. It's actually now some 14 months ago that was released. We improved MySQL basically across the board, all the way from scale and just raw throughput. We've improved the optimizer, replication, the performance schema has been greatly improved, and we added this new NoSQL access to InnoDB for very high demand, sort of simple primary key type lookup updates. I have a slide on that coming forward as well. So how many in here are on 5.6 already? Okay, let me see, 5.5? 5.1? Okay, so it's people are still on 5.5. 5.6 has been out there for quite some time. We have a lot of people moving to 5.6, so I really encourage you to get on to 5.6. There's a lot of interesting and good features in there, so you should really move forward with that as soon as possible. A bit of thank you to the MySQL community. Our feedback, the feedback that we get around our releases and well, features we develop and so on, they're very, very important to us. I want to give a special thanks to Justin, Larinias, Honsa, Hartmut, Davi, and Mark for your contributions. Of course, there's a lot of people contributing, so and it's, as I said, very important to us to get these contributions and feedback on our release. It really helps us giving you back a better MySQL, helping us focus on the right thing. And the obligatory, we're hiring. We've been growing the team for the past, well, many years, but especially in the last 4 years, we've grown the team a lot, focused a lot on the QA, but we've hired a lot on the development side as well. We're still hiring. You're welcome to continue to contribute through patches and bug reports and things like that, but you're also welcome to join us. So we're hiring. I also want to take this opportunity to welcome Web Scale SQL, was mentioned by Peter in his intro. We think this is a very exciting initiative for us. It's a clear statement of the investment that 4 major web properties are making in MySQL, believing in MySQL for web scale in the future. It's great news for the MySQL community. A lot of good patches will get into MySQL thanks to this, and I think it will make it even easier for us at Oracle and drive MySQL forward and in close cooperation with these companies and the Web Scale SQL initiative, get these things into the MySQL server releases from us and make MySQL even better over time. So now jumping into 5.7, hopefully you've seen the development milestones releases that we've developed or released in the past bit over a year now. The first DMR came out, actually it was announced for this conference last year. Since then, we'd had DMR2 and DMR3, and on Monday, we announced the DMR4, together with a number of labs releases. Just for everybody's understanding, what are DMRs? We call them development milestone releases. Those are releases of 5.7 in this case, which where we have included features which are well integrated to the product. They have what we call release candidate quality, so it's really there for you to try out and give us feedback And on top of that, we also release the labs releases, which are more early stage things. We urge you to come with feedback to us. I'll get into some of the labs releases we have out there. So all of these are available now. And so please download and try them out. To help you in working with our previous GA releases and also with these new 5.7 DMRs we have since about 6 months now, we also have YUM repositories. So that really benefits everybody. It's much easier, even easier than before, to download and upgrade your installed MySQL. So you can get both as I said, the GA releases and the DMRs through the system. And not only you can get the MySQL Server, but a bunch of other products from us like Workbench, different connectors, and MySQL utilities as well. And already now we have over 50% of our downloads for MySQL Server on Red Hat and Fedora are from these YUM repositories rather than the traditional RPMs. Should mention also that coming next here is Debian Ubuntu. We had hoped we would have it out just before this conference. We didn't quite manage, but you should see Debian Ubuntu packages coming out shortly. We'll be adding also further products on this list moving forward. So let's jump into the latest development milestone number 4 here. We continue on our path, building on the success of 5.6 and basically enhancing the MySQL server across the board, all the way down from the InnoDB storage engine layer up to the optimizer and also on the connection side of things, enabling you to have higher connect-disconnect rates. Some of the things, this is benchmark slides. Can always debate benchmarks, but this says sysbench read-only point select with compared to 5.5, we have 3x performance at scale. Compared to 5.6, we have 2x. So we're now talking about 630,000 queries per second in our latest 5.7 DMR. These are quite big boxes, so that the focus here has been to be able to really utilize these big boxes with a lot of connections putting load onto the system. As I mentioned in the beginning, the NoSQL interface that we added in 5.6, we have beefed that up even more. So we have over 6 times faster now than we had in MySQL 5.6. We peak above 1.1 million QPS on this. How many have looked at this memcached interface? Not so many. It's through the regular memcached interface, you can do operations. And the nice thing with this is that you go into InnoDB, so you have your SQL interface, and you can access the data in your regular way, but also through this memcached interface, you can access the same data and get tremendous speed out of this. And I also want to thank Josh and Ori for the original idea around handler socket, which sort of got this work going, and also for feedback along the way, which has enabled us to reach these quite amazing numbers. Some other areas in 5.7 that we have, I'm just going to highlight. There is a session where we go into more details on this, so I'm just going to try to highlight some of the things that I think is specifically interesting in 5.7 here. So explain for running queries. So the problem here is a statement is taking long, what's going on, you want to figure out what's happening with this. Then you can explain for a specific connection. You can go in and do your show process list and figure out which connection you are interested in, and then you can have an explain, and then you can figure out hopefully what the root cause of the delay is. Another popular thing that we already added before, but that we have expanded even more, is the JSON explain. That also includes all available cost information. You get it out like you see on the left-hand side here if you just look at it raw, but with MySQL Workbench, both 6.0 but also now in 6.1, you can get this as a visual explain, so you can see the graph version of this. You can hover with your mouse and you can get this information out in a very easy to use manner and very easy to consume. And then you can drill down from there if you need to try to figure out what's going on, possible problems that you have with your query and so on. A big work we're doing in the optimizer area is to revamp the cost model. The cost model that is in MySQL, first of all, it's very integrated into the whole processing of all the way up to the parser and how you do the query planning and all of these things. So we're doing some re-engineering work here to split this up more easily, making it more flexible and making sure that there's clear APIs and things like that, so the storage engine can actually report on its capabilities and costs for different type of operations and so on. And this really lays the groundwork for making costs configurable. And in the end, the goal is, of course, to get better query plans and better optimized queries. So here is, I think the previous one was something which is out now. Here on labs, we have our parser refactoring work. This is part of the same effort to sort of cleanly separate the different layers in the server. The parser in MySQL have over time become quite bloated. So in this first refactoring step here, it's for the select. It's been broken out in a separate code path. So we want to transform the SQL parsers into a sort of a true bottom-up parser. And efficiency and maintainability are, of course, the goals here. In InnoDB, there's been a lot of improvements. You've seen the results in the better performance and scalability. That's not the only area that we're focusing on. We're focusing on making not only InnoDB in this case online capable, but everything in the MySQL server in the end as a goal. You should be able to do online operations. You should be able to update your parameters online. You should be able to sort of do everything online, so you don't have to take down or make your tables read-only or something like that. So InnoDB online alter table, being able to support more and more online operations there. Another area which we are focusing on and have released improvements in the SSD arena. We were working with Fusion.io to make sure that we run even faster with SSDs. More specifically, we can automatically disable the double write buffer when you detect DirectFS. And the other things here are around how we get this higher throughput, and also something that people have been asking for are the transportable table spaces, which are now in the 5.7. InnoDB compression, important for a lot of reasons, but this particular one, and we want to thank Fusion.io for this work. It's important for SSDs, of course. They're more expensive, and also you want to be very efficient in terms of how you write to the SSDs, not to wear them out. So this is work that are currently in labs, will come out in 5.7 in an upcoming DMR. So this work also applies to all kinds of tables, including the system tables and undo logs. And into this goes a refactoring work on how the InnoDB compression is done. We basically moved the compression down into the I/O layer to be able to get this work out. InnoDB temp tables. In the end, for performance of temp tables in InnoDB. So we have made eliminated a lot of disk I/O, and this, if you go to Sunny's talk, you will find out more, but basically create drop is like 20 times faster, your deletes are 4 times faster, your undo or your update and inserts are double the performance, so it really makes InnoDB much more usable in the temp table context. Another feature, want to highlight that this comes from Davi originally, server-side statement timeouts, very useful feature. You can set basically a per server or per session on timeouts on individual select statements. We've improved the MDL locking, again, performance for higher core counts. We've implemented them for lower core counts that for a fast path to DML locks, lock-free DML, lock-free hashes. So in order to get these scalability improvements in performance, then we have to do work not only on the InnoDB sides, but all the way up in the higher levels in the server. Security is another area which we are focusing on in the MySQL 5.7. As of 5.7, we have AES-256 encryption as default. We have added some password rotation policies, and also another goal is to be able to do secure unattended install with random passwords and things like that. So might be interesting for some of you. GIS in MySQL has previously been something that MyISAM could only serve, so we want to unleash the benefits of InnoDB for also GIS purposes. We had to implement a R3 index for in InnoDB, and also another design decision that we took was that we're no longer going to build on the old homegrown GIS things that we have in the server around how you compute polygons and how you do sort of overlapping things in how you figure out these GIS operations in SQL. We're going to base those operations off a library which is out there, open source, which is Boost Geometry. So we pulled in Boost Geometry into MySQL. This is available on labs now, and this will enable us to evolve much faster and in a much better way in terms of our GIS efforts in the future. And we are going to be working with Boost. If there are areas where we will improve Boost, then of course we will contribute those upstream into Boost Geometry. In the past few years, the performance schema has been one of the biggest sort of inventions in MySQL, and very, very popular. A lot of information available. We keep adding new probes into the server over time. Recently, we've added memory instrumentation around stored procedures, prepared statements, transactions. So hundreds and hundreds of probes in there. Which is all good. There's a lot of information if you want to dig in and figure out what's going on in the server. It can be hard to digest. There's just so much information in there. So what we've done is that we've introduced something we call MySQL Sys schema, which then sort of creates views into performance schema to make more accessible the task, the typical tasks that a DBA has around monitoring health, growth rates, and other key metrics, so you can easily spot and diagnose and sort of tune performance problems. So it's things like IO hotspots, costly SQL statements, locking, and a bunch of things there. So it creates about 80 views. It builds on the PS Helper, if you've seen that work. It's versioned, you support this with 5.5, 5.6, or 5.7. If you're still unsure what it is, it's something very similar to what a bunch of other databases have in Oracle, the $V catalog, and SQL Server, the dynamic management views, and the IBM DB2 version of that. You can get this today in two ways. Either you can get it directly from GitHub and download this schema, or you can, I encourage you to use Workbench in 6.1. It has the sysschema integrated and also has this very nice graphical interface into this sysschema. Talking about MySQL Workbench, what you get with the sysschema is the performance dashboard. You can view real-time server stats, get that, as I said, graphical and nice. Other things that you get there is the Visual Explain 2.0, the next version of it. I already had that on a picture before. It also has enhanced enterprise backup support, so you can actually manage backups from Workbench. So this is what your dashboard looks like in Workbench. One view of the dashboard. You can also drill into details and so on here. So you can get status around network, server, InnoDB, and as I said, you can analyze the hotspots, costly SQL statements, and more things there. So please, please, please try that out, and also, of course, give us feedback around this. And this is GA and was announced late last week, I believe. I've talked about InnoDB, I've talked about the optimizer and some refactoring that we're doing there and some new features. Another key area in the server is replication. Robert talked a lot about replication being one of the success factors of MySQL over the years, and of course we continue to improve that for higher throughput, both on the master and on the slave. A few releases back, we introduced semi-synchronous replication, so we keep improving that. Lossless replication through semi-sync. Performance schema also for replication. And in this effort of making everything online, you also have dynamic replication filters now, so you can change these on the fly rather than having to take down your slave to say, okay, I only want database X or replicate do type things. On labs, we have multi-source replication, so that's something that's going to be rolled into the regular DMRs once that is fully done. I think everybody knows what multi-source replication is, so I'm not going to drill into that. You can go to Luis's session if you want to learn more about what's happening there. Here are some performance numbers of what you can get with one of the things that we introduced in 5.7, I should say 5.6, we introduced on the slave side, you can parallelize on the on databases. So if you can say that, okay, database, everything that goes into database X replicates, sort of applies in a separate thread, and then database Y on another thread, and so on. And that way you can scale your slave to handle even more throughput. With 5.7, we introduced that you can do this intra-schema. So it will actually, if you go into the details, it will actually utilize information from the master, how the group was committed there, and you can actually parallelize across that group on the slave side. It was introduced in 5.7.2, and now we've done some enhancements which are now out on labs, and you can get slave throughput now up to 6x, what we measured at least on the slave side with this. And then you don't really have to do anything with thinking about splitting on databases on that. That was something that would come then basically out of the box. I mentioned utilities, so I want to highlight this a bit. The utilities package, which is now version 1.4 with the current RC, there are earlier GA versions of that. So it's a set of powerful DevOps tools for managing MySQL. So typically automating very typical tasks around replication, such as provisioning, testing, monitoring for failover, database comparisons, consistency checking, database administration around users, connections, and auditing. These are Python scripts, all open source, so you can look, you can adopt it possibly for your use case. You can also contribute back to us, of course. New in 1.4 is round-robin multi-source replication and slave synchronization check. Could be interesting tools for some of you. And something which is also new in 1.4 is MySQL Fabric. And this is our Python framework for managing farms of MySQL Server in high availability and sharded setups. So you have something, it manages things which are called master groups, which are groups that contain the same data. And then you can have several master groups, and they are the different shards. And then there's the Fabric dictionary, which keeps track of which data is in which shard. So this is currently a release candidate. We hope to get feedback on this. It's proxyless, so there's no extra latency. Currently supports range or hash sharding. Yeah, how many have looked at Fabric? A few at least. Okay. I think this is a very interesting new product which we are coming out with, helping a lot of users having to, or avoiding to do, redo a lot of work that earlier users have done in order to achieve this. These are very common setups. So doing this is in a unified and standard way, I think, will become very valuable. I mentioned MySQL Cluster. So in 7.4, which is currently out on labs, we have done some additional performance work. You can see the numbers there, 47% on read-only, 38% on read-write. For those of you who are not familiar with MySQL Cluster, it's basically you have a bunch of MySQL servers. They share a common clustered data store, so you get high availability. You can take out any node in your system. You still have your system up and running. You really don't notice any glitches in accessibility of your data. You can bring things up again. It will automatically rejoin. You can do online upgrades of your system. And a really high performance system, and it's especially popular in the telco space. I can almost guarantee you if you're making a phone call anywhere in the world today, and during the call setup or in some other phase, there's a MySQL cluster involved somewhere in there, because we are with most of the major telecom vendors today and with a clustering product. It's becoming increasingly popular on a bunch of use cases on the web as well. So if you haven't looked, please have a look. This all together with Fabric and some of the other things that we have offering around DRBD and MySQL Cluster gives a whole range of different options for HA and scaling with MySQL from us. I'm not going to go into the detail of this chart. You can find it on the web, but there are a bunch of design decisions that you will have to make and trade-offs you will have to do along the way to decide which option to go with. So I just want to highlight that we do offer this and in a bunch of different ways. So please have a look there if this is of interest to you. You also have recently released MySQL Enterprise Backup 3.10, so that's our online backup solution. We have enhanced it for speed, new compression functionality, more flexibility, efficiency, and also security. For example, filtering options for partial backups, or full and incremental backups, And this is part of our enterprise offering together with MySQL Enterprise Monitor, for example, and MySQL Enterprise Auditing and Security and some other options which are in our sort of full enterprise offering. We keep continuing to raise the bar for MySQL Server and all the other products. In the past 10 months, we've given you a new version of Cluster, Workbench 6.0.6.1. There's a new Enterprise Monitor out. There are MySQL utilities. MySQL Connectors have been released. We have the DMR and the labs things that I've talked to you about today. We released something on the lab that connects to what Robert was talking on the Hadoop applier side as well. And we really want your feedback on this. We do get feedback, but I can encourage you to give even more feedback, especially on these new things that we release. People tend to be on an older release and then wait for a while until you adopt the newer releases. And I think it's really important for us to make sure that we give the best releases to you, that you give us this feedback as soon as possible. And that's why we're doing these development milestone releases and labs releases, just so we can have this interaction around the new features and the new things that are coming out. Oracle makes MySQL better for the next generation web, cloud, and the big data applications. Today, hopefully you've seen some things here that interests you. You can dig into the details by attending some of our sessions. Today we have the 5.7 InnoDB What's New with Sunny, and then we have performance schema improvements, Mark Leith, and then we have core server improvements with Morgan, and then we have a BOF at 6 where you can meet with us and discuss what you think about what you've seen today or what you've seen earlier. Tomorrow we have sharding and scale out with Fabric for Mats Kindahl, and then performance and scalability benchmarks, Dimitri, where you can ask all the questions around all the graphs that I showed and the improvements that we've done there. And on Friday you could dig into replication and a close look at what's new there with Luis. So hopefully you'll join us for these 6-7 sessions in the coming days, today and the coming days. And also I want to make sure you're aware of our MySQL Connect event at Oracle, Open World. It will be during the weekdays this time, so some people complain that it's over the weekend, so now it's during the week, so there are no excuses. Please join us. Call for papers or call for proposals open until April 15th. There will be keynotes, conference sessions, both tutorials during the course of the week.